Once again, we welcome you to this marriage program, Live to Cleave. Marriage, a lifetime commitment. We thank God for what we have been talking about marriage. Last week we started on the origin, on why God decided to have marriage. What's God's purpose for marriage? And we started by talking about, we said there were four. We spoke briefly on one of them. Yes, the companionship. The second reason is what we are going to look at today, which is the need to satisfy sexual urge. The third thing that God created for man is sex. Sex is good. Sex is wonderful. And God created it for a purpose. And it is only good in the confine of marriage. Sex outside marriage is sin. One of these is the good thing about sex. How do you differentiate between man and woman? It is those features that God has placed there in the man and the woman, that when you say man, you will know. When you say woman, you will know. No matter how a man tries and disguises to be a woman, because of those natural things, it may be difficult. It will take extra effort to cover up that. But then we are talking about this thing that God has placed there that makes us to be different. You see a boy and a girl when they are very small, 2 years, 3 years, they bath outside without any shame. They are naked with other, they don't even know the difference. But at a particular time, even your daughter that used to bath for, when you want to enter a room, she will tell you, Daddy, you didn't knock. The boy will be keeping his body from the woman. It's because they are getting conscious of their sexual need and sexual life. And so, sex is placed there by God. And sex is meant for procreation. And so, a man and a woman should have sex, which is just natural once you come together. And so there comes a time the man and the woman will be having this feeling to have sex. At that particular time, the Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 1, it says it's not good, it's good if a man and a woman do not marry. But then, if they cannot wait, the man and the woman should do what? A man should get his own wife. The woman should get her own husband. Because if they don't get it, in verse 8, it says, so that they will not burn. It means at a particular time, a man and a woman begin to burn. And the only thing to quench that fire in their body is sex. Buy cloth for a woman. Buy Mercedes-Benz for a woman. Buy Omaji for a woman. Or a man. If you have not given, if that woman is starved of sex, that woman will be short-tempered. No matter what you give to that woman, if what sex is what that woman needs, there is nothing you can do. You give to that woman, it cannot solve the problem. A man that needs sex, and you think you are cooking good food for the man, and you are doing other things, the food will not solve the problem. And so God used the sex. It's intentional that God made man the way God made man, and God made woman the way God made woman, and put those sexual things there for us. And so sex again is to build intimacy between the man and the woman. We find out that a man and a woman, it was a time, I don't know whether it still happens now, that a man will travel to UK and they will say, please find me a wife. And they will look for a girl in the village and send to the man in America. They may not know each other, but as they begin to sleep together, they begin to have sex together, the love begins to develop. In fact, you find out that after sleeping together and facing themselves in the course of having sex, they begin to look alike. Sex is good. Sex is created by God. But one thing is, sex is spiritual. When sex is abused, there will be problem in the home. 1 Corinthians 6 verse 15 say, do you not know that your bodies are members of Christ? Shall I then take the members of Christ and make them members of a harlot? Certainly not. Anyone who sleeps with a person who they are not married to is sleeping with a harlot. So anyone you sleep with that is not your wife or your husband is a harlot. Sex is meant for man and woman. And if there is no sex, we cannot fulfill the plan of God to replenish the heart. We cannot bring children. It is one of the reasons, which is not the main reason for sex. Because we have turned God's plan, we have turned it upside down. It's like now sex is the main reason for marriage. No. Sex is meant to bring intimacy. Sex is meant to bind the husband and the wife together. But in the course of this sex and intimacy and fellowship, children will come. We have people that have been having sex and they have not had children, not because they are not productive, but because of the anxiety. Because the reason they want to have sex is to have children. And they go into sex anxiously because they want to have children. Their body temperature rises, and medically it's not good for them. So sex between husband and wife, God's plan for it is to make them to come together, to make them to get close together. And so sex must not be abused. Sex is spiritual. A man and a woman that is having sex is like they are transferring life between each others. And so when you see a man that has slept with 10 girls, it means you have distributed a part of your life to 10 girls. And when you see a girl that 10 men have slept with him, 10 different lives, some of them carry madness, some of them carry different types of problems from their families, and they are joined to you. It means you have mortgaged your life, you have mortgaged your future. We have women, I've heard someone say, there's no way I can't sleep without having sex in a day. It is a serious problem. Sex outside marriage is bad. God does not want it. I want to read further. That same 1 Corinthians 6:16 says, or do you not know that he who is joined to a harlot is one body with her? For the two, he says, shall become one. The best way in which a man and woman can be as one is when they are together in sex. You can kiss, you can hold yourself, you can do anything, but then until when you enter yourself, you become one. He said, but he who is joined to the Lord is one spirit with him. Flee sexual immorality. Flee sexual immorality. The man and the woman that God has brought together, he has given us the gift of sex, and we must use it very, very well. Still 1 Corinthians but chapter 7. I want you to please listen as I read this. Say, now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every man have her own husband. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence. Be generous. Your bodies belong to each other's. You can't keep yourselves from each other's. And likewise also the wife unto the husband. The wife had no power over her own body, but the husband. Your body belongs to your husband. Also the husband had not power over his own body, but the wife. I am reading the Bible. I'm not saying something from my head. So if you want a correct home, a peaceful home, these are things you must obey, even when you are dealing with sex in the home. Say, defraud ye not one the other. What does it mean to defraud? To swindle. In the normal language, street language, say 419. It means if your husband says, let us have sex, you say no, you are defrauding him, you are 419 him. He said, except it be with consent for a time. So if the two of you, if your husband wants it, and you say no, there must be a reason for it. However, like people say, sex is not food. but sex is the spiritual food. But then, if the woman is tired, if the woman is stressed, the husband must be magnanimous enough to understand and be considerate. And then the woman too should not use sex as a weapon to get something from the husband or to punish the husband. Sex is meant to bring you together, not to destroy your home. And in verse 9, verse 8, I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as I. But if they cannot contain, if you cannot hold yourself, instead of going from one man to the other, say, let them marry. For it is better to marry than to burn. So instead of burning, get married. Sex is something that will happen naturally to a man when you get to a particular age. And God has given the avenue. Marriage is the solution to sexual need. And so it's one of those purposes, one of those reasons God decided to give man the woman. God bless you as you live together and enjoy your sexual life. Every perversion in sex, the Lord God will deliver everyone going through it at this time in the name of the Lord Jesus. God bless you.